Welcome to Bible Time with Aunt Kat. This is where we talk about real people we read about in God's Word, the Bible. And all of God's Word is true because God cannot lie. The Bible verses we use today will be shared at the end of the video. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to grow up with Jesus? Or to have him as your friend or big brother? The Bible doesn't tell us a lot about Jesus as a child, but it does give us one powerful verse that tells us what kind of a child he was. Luke 2:52 says, "And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man." That means he grew in every way. His mind grew, he learned new things. His body grew, he grew taller and stronger. His spirit grew, he stayed close to God. And his relationships grew. People respected him and loved him. Jesus was part of a family. His mother was Mary, and his earthly father was Joseph. He had brothers and sisters. Joseph was a carpenter, so Jesus probably learned to use tools, and he helped in the workshop. Children in Jesus' day didn't have video games or battery-powered toys, but archaeologists and historians have found evidence that children played games like tossing stones, like jacks. It was just the same thing as playing jacks, and rolling hoops with sticks, running races, and pretending to be shepherds and carpenters and things just like you would pretend today, only the kind of jobs that their daddies and mommies had. Jesus even mentioned children playing music and dancing in Luke 7 verse 32. So we know he noticed and understood how children like to play. Jesus obeyed his parents. He worked hard and he honored God even as a child. He was respectful, responsible, and kind. And here's what is really special. Jesus didn't just grow up for us. He grew up with us in mind. He understands everything we go through because he lived it too. He knows what it's like to be tired, to learn, to help with chores, and to want to please God. That means that when you're trying to do the right thing, even when it's hard, you can remember that Jesus understands. He's right there to help you. And so Jesus grew up, just like our verse said, he grew up from a baby to a little boy to a big boy, just like a little bitty boy would go from these shoes to these shoes. And like your mother may measure your height and mark it off, and you grow taller and taller and taller and taller, so did Jesus. And just like we did when we were little. So that is stature. Height is stature. That's what that word means. He grew in stature. He grew in wisdom. Now, he didn't have these books, I am sure, but he did have God's Word to study, and he would have gone from simple reading. You know, a baby will go from simple little books like these today to harder and harder books. And he grew in his knowledge, so that would be wisdom, and he grew in favor with people. That means he grew in, the people found him to be kind and honest, and they liked him and they respected him because he was somebody they could trust and they liked to be around. And most importantly, he grew in favor with God. And how do we do that? By studying God's Word, just like Jesus did. He would have gone to the synagogue school and learned to read. That's what he would have, everything he studied would have come from God's Word, only it would have been a long scroll instead of like this. But he would have learned to read God's Word and study it, and he would have talked to God through prayer, just like we do. And that's how he grew in favor with God, and by obeying him as well, of course. So the memory verse is the verse we've been talking about. Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men, from Luke 2, verse 52. Now, I've been having a problem all morning long trying to get this right, so I'm going to try to do it, okay? We're singing it to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men. Luke 2, verse 52. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men. Luke 2, verse 52. One more time. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men. Luke 2, verse 52. The Bible verses we've used today are Luke 2, verse 40, Luke 2, verse 51 and 52, and Luke 7, verse 32, and Hebrews 4, verse 15, which teaches us that Jesus understands our struggles. Next week, we will learn about someone who prepared the way for Jesus. And don't forget to make your own Bible time every day.